In this video, we're going to talk about cloning, specifically 125 gigahertz or low frequency, different types of chips from cards into a T5577 in the next implant here. So we have a bunch of different types of cards, but basically they're all based on the 125 gigahertz frequency range, which has a couple different types of what's called air interface. It's a little bit technical, but essentially it just means how is the data communicated, how are the bits streamed out of the card to the reader, does the reader provide power and then talk to the card first, or does the card talk first? All of these pretty much are card talk first. Which means that when they get a field, they just start spitting out their ID numbers. But how they spit it out and the order that the bits are in and how the bits are encoded differ between these different types of cards. But essentially, the cool part about the T5577 chip, and I've talked about it extensively in other videos, but it can be changed to emulate each type of air interface and serial number or ID of each of these types of cards. So we're going to hop into the Proxmark client here on software, and we're just going to start interrogating these cards to find out what are their ID numbers, basically. So we're going to take a look at this one first. This is an Access Pro, and you can see that it has some decimal data printed on the card. And this is typically what would be used to be typed into the access control system. But this is just a type of representation of the data in the card. It's, the data is not stored decimally in the card. It's all of these cards and all the chips, they just deal with binary data just like any other computer chip or digital type of storage. But how that binary data is represented is what's printed on some of these cards. And you'll see different cards have different things printed. But essentially, that's just the important thing to understand is that is how the binary data on the chip is just being represented. It's a type of, I guess you could call it encoding, but it's just a type of representation. But in the end of the day, it's all binary data, and that's what we're going to focus on. So we're going to put the Access Pro card up here, and because we're just dealing with low frequency, I'm going to do LF search. So just telling the Proxmark, look for any kind of chip on the LF field that you can recognize and tell me about it. So we hit enter. And we can see, okay, we see basically that it is an EM410X type chip. So that's a very common type of low frequency chip, EM, Electromicronics. It's like a very old company that makes these types of things, particularly for these legacy access control systems and solutions. It's a very common chip type. So a company called Access Pro just bought a bunch of those and put their name on it. But it's an EM chip. So in order to clone that, well, we'll get into cloning later. I just want to go through these. So one of the important things is, you notice that number that's printed on the card, and then if you look at the different possible descramble patterns under the Proxmark software, you'll see one of them that matches, or at least the sections match. So we see 214, 5149, 479, sorry. And you can see that's the DES 3.5C, that's there. And then this number is also represented on the screen, 140768183, that's the DES 8 designation, or sorry, DES 10, because we got the DES 00. But essentially, these are all binary representations of, or this is decimal representations of the binary data on the chip. And we could even break this down into binary if we wanted. Do I want to do that? I don't know. We'll see about it. Maybe it'll pop up in the video, maybe not. Okay, so I guess we're going to cover this just real briefly because it's kind of interesting. But you'll notice that I have the calculator up here and I'm in programmer mode, so we can see the hex, decimal, octal, which nobody really cares about, and then binary versions of all these numbers. So the first thing I want to point out is let's just type in the first number that my thumb is pointing to on the card there, which is 00, which doesn't really matter because it's preceding zeros, but 140768183. So you'll see the hex value is D6C917. And if we look up here at the EM410X ID, we see 4F, but then we see 00, which is the preceding byte, then D6C917. So that is this number that I'm pointing to with my thumb is the not the entire ID, but the significant amount of them. So this is an important distinction because This goes all the way back to the old Wigand. Some people say Wigand. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's an old access standard. It was based on magnetic wires, and that's a whole nother video. Actually, there's probably plenty of videos about it. Just Google it. It's very interesting. But that kind of standard has worked its way into modern access control systems, and it's terribly weak when it comes to byte length. Or bit length, really. So you have this card that has, a good 40 bits of unique ID, but we're going to ignore some of it, and it just seems kind of ridiculous. And that's a limitation of the Wigand protocol, not just the way that it reads the card. The reader can read the card completely, but what happens is it truncates that ID because it's transmitting the ID bits to the controller over wire, copper wire, and that transmission protocol is Wigand. So it's limited in what it can transmit, and so it just truncates bytes. But it's all, like I said, it's a whole nother thing. It's terrible. It sucks. It needs to go away, but it's going to be with us for a very long time, just like legacy cards and things, which, for you is great because you can clone these things that have no security. But let's get back to it. So that's that number. But what is the other, the 214-51479? Well, let's take a look. So we go to decimal, and we just do 214. We can see, oh, hey, that's recognizable, D6. So that is that single byte, D6, then followed by 51, let's type it right, 51479, and we get C917. So again, the same number of bytes there, except the longer decimal has the preceding 00, which correlates to the second byte here in the ID, 00, just after 4F. But in all these cases, 4F is omitted, so it's not included in any of the actual data that the controller on the access system is going to look at, or probably even receive, to be honest, from the reader, which is just terrible, but it is what it is. So this kind of is interesting because you could have a whole bunch of cards that have different first bytes, like 5F, 6F, 0, 1, anything like that. But then the rest of these bytes are the same, and they would all look like the same card ID to the system, which is just, again, it's dumb. You have all this extra, ID entropy, basically, and randomization of ID numbers, and it's just being ignored, which is lame. But you can see that's what essentially all these different possible descramble patterns are about, is just these different types of, rehashing and looking at the same exact binary data that's on the card. In fact, I think you could probably take a look at the entirety of it. Let's look, we don't need to look at the binary. I mean, who reads binary? But you get the point. The binary data is represented in these different kind of truncated ways on the card. Some access control systems need this kind of big long number. Some need it split up into little things. And that's just how it goes. But essentially, yeah, that's all we're dealing with, is just different representations of binary data. All right, let's get back to the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is an HID card with a number printed on it. We'll set it on the LF thing. Again, LF search. So we see, yep, it found an HID card. There's the raw data there. But then there's different representations, again, of the actual data on the card, which is, it has a facility code in the HID procs 26-bit, facility code of 100, card number 9454, and you can see 9454 there. That number is represented elsewhere, or it means something different. That's probably the card number that you'd be typing out in a different way. I'm not exactly sure what the following bits are or how they're represented on the Proxmark, but it's not the important part. Let's take a look at this. This is very small, printed in 𝗽𝗏. So this is another type of low frequency card. Again, numbers printed there in decimal format. LF search, and there we go. We see the 𝗽𝗏 format, 26-bit. FC is a facility code 75, card number 4450, checksum 10. So if we look, 4450 is right there. And just to go through really quickly, it's getting tedious maybe, but so this one is a different kind of chip. It's it's a different kind of representation. It's called a Gallagher card. I forget why I put Q5 on it, but Q5 is a different kind of chip. So this is where the marketing of these different chip types interferes with the technical side of the chip types and what they do. So I believe Q5 was a marketing term promoted for this type of chip and the output encoding, but I can't remember. But anyway, so you see, again, printed 2772, card number on the Proxmark is 2772. Oftentimes they leave the facility code off, but doesn't really matter. And this final card, what do we got here? Oh, this is the 𝗷𝗿𝗹𝗃𝗃 card that I was looking for earlier in a different video. And we do a search. We can see 𝗷𝗿𝗃 length is 33, the Wigand ID data basically that's printed, and this has been purchased by a company called DSX Access 33, I guess. And so this decimalized data, you could again convert this into this. The data that's being presented on the Proxmark client is in hexadecimal. This is in decimal, so I'm sure you could do a conversion. It would be the same value, but that's the printed decimalized version of the binary data. So let's get into actually cloning. So cloning depends with this Proxmark and this firmware version. Cloning depends heavily on what kind of card you're dealing with. So let's look at a common EM card type first. So we're going to do this again. Okay, so we see the EM ID is in green. I'm going to use the old mouse here to do a quick copy. And now if we want to clone it to the next, we're going to put the next here. You can see that I placed it so that it's essentially perpendicular to the antenna winding. So it's crossing the antenna winding at 90 degrees. We could do an LF tune, but we don't really need to do that. I know exactly where it is and how it's done. So because we're doing an EM card, we're going to want to do an LF. And then if we look again up the list here, we can see EM is a subtype or submenu of LF, so EM. Now we know it's an EM410X, so we do 410X. And now we have a clone option. Let's see what those options are. So if we do LF EM410X clone, now we want to do ID, because we know the ID. I'm going to paste it in. And we don't need the --Q5 option because that's a different type of chip. We want to do the T5577. So we hit that. So it's going to write. Now, the important thing about writing in any digital medium, but in particular these types of chips, if you write data to your hard drive, if you write data to the chips, the write function only attempts to write. It doesn't verify that it was properly written. To verify, we're going to do an LF search now. So it says no known tags are found. So that's interesting. So because this is two chips in one implant, I'm going to flip this around because maybe the LF side is that side. Now I'm going to try the clone again. Now it says that it needs to be verified, so I'm going to do a search. And now we see, okay, it did write. So this is a very important lesson. Just because you're telling the Proxmark to blast out the data to the chip, and it says, yep, I did that, it doesn't mean that the chip has picked it up or has it properly been written. You need to verify. And so that's essentially now the chip is in EM mode, so it's communicating like an EM chip with the correct ID. But now let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to put it right there. And remember, that's the side. Now let's do an HID prox, because this is probably the second most populous type of access card out there. Do the search. So we're going to do the facility code 109.454, 26-bit. So again, put this back on. We're going to do LF, and we're going to take a look at the list. Okay, we see HID prox, so LF, HID. Now we have the clone option, HID clone. So now it's going to ask for, well, we could do the raw, and I'm going to scroll up here, just grab the raw data. Whoops. Get up there. Okay, we want this, raw data. Okay, that just makes it easier because then you're not dealing with all the other stuff. Let's do raw. That's probably too many. Yeah, we don't need all the preceding zeros, just the last bits. Okay, so now it says it wrote it, so let's do an LF search. And there we can see we've got a facility code 100 and card number 9454. So the same kind of holds true for the rest of these. If we want to do 𝗷𝗏, then we do LF, 𝗷𝗏, and then there's a clone option for 𝗷𝗏. And then this one, which is Gallagher. Again, let's see what it says. Gallagher. So another interesting thing about the Proxmark is that you don't necessarily need all of the, to type out the entirety of the command. If there's no other matching command at that length, it works. So LF Gallagher and then clone. So there's yet another clone option for Gallagher. So you can see how we could take any one of these types of cards and determine the type and then go into the Proxmark and use the proper command set to be able to clone that to a T5577. So that's the video, and I hope you understand now how to kind of walk through and determine on the LF side what kind of card you're dealing with or fob, and then exactly how to get it cloned into a T5577 product like the Next or an XCM or any other of our products that have the T5577 chip. If you haven't seen the T5577 video, there's a link to it in the description, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.